So something that comes up in our videos a lot that we mention is the 10-4 station, or we will use swing direction stations. This one's a very popular one for someone who comes over the top too much, or someone we're trying to shift their swing direction more to the right or inside out. So just wanted to briefly go over how the station gets set up so that when we're explaining it and I recommend to use it, you guys know how to do it. So in this particular station, we have a stick for swing direction behind us here and one in front of us. The idea being during the downswing, it needs to come from the inside or underneath this stick. I can probably lower this a little bit. Underneath this stick, and then on the follow through it would go to the right or kind of over on top of this stick. So here's how it gets set up. The first part would be where it is in this direction. I want this stick set up, if I put the club kind of at last parallel here like this, where you have a couple of inches between the shaft and the actual stick. The idea here is we're shifting swing direction from inside out. So at this last parallel position, I would want the club head slightly inside your hand location, like this, and I want the stick to be in the way if I were to kick out. So I usually will set it up, put the club kind of on my toe line at parallel to the ground, and I want the club head slightly inside of that if I'm trying to hit draws. So I would give myself a couple of inches, maybe up to 6. So this is set up pretty easy here at this spot. It could be even a little bit lower. And then on the follow-through station, I do the same thing. I set this on my toe line, and if we want the in to out swing direction, I want that exiting more over here at about here, maybe like 1, 2 o'clock this way. So I'm going to put the stick in my way for that. So toe line for the backswing, couple of inches. Toe line for the follow-through, couple of inches there. Now in terms of how far back or forward you set it, I typically would put it about 1/2 to 3/4 of the way down the shaft from this angle, and 1/2 and 3/4 of the way down the shaft from this angle. So from the face-on view with the 10-4, the most important part is how far back and how far forward the station should go. Just for safety purposes, typically when I'll set these up, I'll put it about 3/4 of the way down the shaft on the way back. So if you kind of just set the club on that toe line here, it's about 3/4 of the way down the shaft. I wouldn't want it so close to you that you could potentially hit it with your hands, nor too far away that the club would completely miss it. So from a setup position, about 3/4 of the way down the shaft on this side. And then I basically follow the same recipe on the follow through. So I go about halfway to 3/4 down the shaft in this direction, again, so that I would never hit it with my hands, and that it's not so far forward that the club would completely miss it. So 3/4 of the way down the shaft is a good rule for how far forward and how far behind. If you guys have any questions about this, just send us a message and ask. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but it does matter where they're set up. So if you do have any questions, just send us a message.